Hi, hello, long time no see. I was traveling in Italy and I had a little bit of a break, and now I'm back and ready and excited to film for you guys again. And I am starting episode 4 today. Today is October 11th, and I hope to finish this episode sometime in the next month because I am planning to read around 4 to 5 books in this one again, and I'm going to be reading books from my fall TBR. So if you haven't watched that video, go check it out. I will leave it down below, but it will give you some idea of what books I'm planning to read in this episode. I'm not going to read all of the books from that video, but just like 4 or 5, maybe 6 books, we will see. And so let's start with a little bit of stats. So last episode we ended on 167 books, and we are starting this episode on 167 because I literally just finished the previous episode, and so just like started it right away. And yeah, as I said, we're going to be reading books from my fall TBR. There are a few chunkier books that I don't know if I want to read with you guys or if I just want to take my time and read them on like a slower pace. But on the other hand, it would be really cool to talk about those books and discuss them and just like popularize them a little bit more. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get to book number 1. So book number 1 that I chose is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I chose this book mainly because it's October, it's getting to the spooky season, although I don't celebrate and support Halloween, but still, it's just like this feels like the right book for October, especially since the leaves are yellowing and it's getting gloomier and stuff. And I hope to finish this book this weekend, so I started it yesterday and I got to page 68, and I'm really enjoying the writing style. I'm a bit confused with the storyline, and yeah, it's just a bit confusing. So the story starts with letters from Walton to his sister Margaret, and he is describing his journey in Russia to the far north on the ship, and they rescue this unknown man who tells him some stories, and he is writing to his sister Margaret in England. And then we start with chapter 1, where we meet our main character Victor. And I'm a bit confused as if the letters from Walton to his sister Margaret are actually related to the story, or if it just like added like some like a little short story from Mary Shelley. I'm not sure. I will have to watch something or read something and like read commentary on this book because it is a bit confusing. And so then we start with chapters from the perspective of our main character Victor, who describes his childhood and his family life and how he grows up. And he goes to this university and he studies chemistry and science, and he decides to create this like figure. And he's like, it is gloomy because he is describing how he is spending time in cemeteries and how he is learning anatomy and how he is trying to basically create this creature. And only on page 58 we get to meet Frankenstein for the first time, but again it's a bit confusing because then a few pages later the best friend of Victor comes to visit Victor and he calls Victor Frankenstein, so it is a bit confusing. So yeah, I will probably have to watch something and like educate myself a little bit more. And there are also commentary at the end of this book. There is like basically like half of the book is commentary. So this book is 239 pages long, so I hope to finish it tomorrow. And this is commentary. And then there's commentary on every chapter because we get a lot of references and allusions to the time that Mary Shelley lived, and that we don't understand as modern readers. We might not understand as modern readers, but yeah, she just writes down from where that quote is or what's the reference. And I'm glad that it's there because I did read a few of the comments and it like cleared some things up a little bit. Not the questions that I still have, but yeah, I will try to finish this book very, very soon, and I will actually talk to you once I'm at around 150 page mark. I hope to get there today. It is not the fastest book. None of the classics that I read are very fast paced. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. So let's make some tea and read this book a little bit. Okay, as promised, I'm tuning in at 150 page mark, and oh boy, I am loving this book. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I am, and actually going into this book, I didn't really have any high expectations and any high hopes. I thought it would be just an okay book, but it is so thought-provoking and it is so interesting, and as you can see, I have a lot of sticky notes and I have a lot to say, but I think we will talk about it more once I'm done and once I see the whole picture. And remember when I said I'm confused why Victor's friend is calling Victor Frankenstein? Forget it. I was just stupid and I didn't realize it's his surname. Yeah, that's what you get if you don't read synopsis. But basically, my whole life I thought Frankenstein is this creature, this monster that was created. But no, Frankenstein is Victor's surname, and Victor is the main character, the creator of this creature. So yeah, that is clear. But actually, there is a lot of things happening, and when Victor creates this creature, he is terrified because the creature is very ugly, but we don't get any detailed description of the creature. We don't get to see how he looks, but from different scenes, from like Victor's point of view and later from the creature's point of view, we know that every human being that sees the creature is terrified and traumatized, and so we understand that he must be very, very ugly. But basically, Victor gets sick, and his friend is helping him. And once Victor is better, he receives a letter from home claiming that his little brother is dead, and he immediately goes home and he suddenly sees this creature in the woods, and he understands that the creature is the one that killed his little brother. And yeah, he is very, very not terrified, but he like condemns himself for creating this creature that eventually killed his little brother, and so he feels guilty for that, and he is very, it feels like he's depressed, but at the same time, he doesn't step up for the girl that was accused in murdering the little boy. And Victor is afraid that if he tells the truth, everyone is going to think that he is just crazy and put him into this like crazy house or asylum or something. Like no one's gonna believe him, or like he is very worried about what other people think of him. And then something tragic happens to the girl that was accused, and Victor kind of like can't forgive himself, and so he goes into the mountains because this is happening in Switzerland. So they have like mountains and forests and stuff, and he goes into the mountains and he spends multiple days there, and suddenly he sees this creature, and the creature starts talking to him, and Victor wants to kill him, but the creature is like, okay, let me tell you the story, and I'm not gonna let you go before you listen me out, and before you hear me out, and before you agree to what I have to say. And then we get this monster's story. The creature tells us about how he lived the first year of his life, basically, and how he had to hide and only could go out at night, and how he learned and and how he learned the language and how he like learned about different things in the world. And we see how lonely and unhappy he is. He is very, very deeply wounded and very, very deeply like very lonely, and he doesn't have anyone. And it's not just like, oh yeah, I was lonely, but we actually see his sorrows, and we feel for him. It is very relatable and it is very beautifully written. I really enjoy the writing style. It is not too slow and it's not too fast paced. And yeah, and then just recently he asked the creator to do something very unexpected, but like if you have read this book, you know what he asked for, but it was very unexpected. And now they are like discussing, and the creator said, I'm not gonna do it, but the monster is like, yeah, you have to do it, and so yada yada yada. I have about 90 pages to go, and I'm hoping to read as much as I can today. I'm gonna read until I go to bed, and then I'm gonna finish this book tomorrow. But yeah, as I said, I'm really enjoying it, and it's very, very thought-provoking. And yeah, honestly, was not expecting to highlight so much. I'm also writing in the book. Yes, yes, I used to be very against writing. Oopsie. I used to be against writing in the book, but in books, but I'm just writing comments, and yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. Alright, so I finished Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and oh my goodness, I really, really love this book. Going into this book, I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't have high expectations, but oh my goodness, I really, really loved it, and I thought it was very well written. It was very thought-provoking, and it was pretty deep, and I think that it's also very, very unique for that period when she wrote it, because this is the 1816 text, and it was like so good. And I have so many sticky notes there, and I even wrote some comments that maybe they were not really related to the plot, but when I read the quote, it like made me think of different things in my life, and it was such an amazing book. And I really loved the story within a story plot line, and it's like tied together so well. And remember at the beginning I had a question like, oh, why is Walton, who is Walton, and why is he writing letters to his sister Margaret? Well, turns out that the person that they saved was Frankenstein, and so Frankenstein was telling his story. And actually this was a story within a story within a story, because when Frankenstein was telling his story, there were also multiple chapters of monster, aka creature, telling his story to Frankenstein. So yeah, as I said, it was story within a story within a story, but it wasn't very confusing, and it tied together so well. And I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was such a great book, and yeah, I'm so happy that I did finally read this book, and I think that it was the right time for me to read this book. And yeah, I really, really appreciate Mary Shelley's writing and talent. And the more classics I read, the more I realize that you have to read it in context of that time when it was written, and also why it was written. Was author writing to get paid, or was he just writing because he wanted to? And who was the author, and what were his life circumstances, and etc., etc. So yeah, I love Frankenstein. It's staying on my shelves, so we need to find a place for it. So since the book is green, I think it will go up here somewhere, together with Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. So okay, so how do okay, I have to turn. I really don't like that I have to turn the book with the cover down so that the I can read the author's name and title. But anyway. Yeah. We have more space for more of these books, but when I have a ton, I eventually want to have one of the shelves filled with these editions. So yeah. Okay, it's now time to choose book number 2, and I've actually already started the book, and it is The Belly of Paris by Emile Zola. It is the third book that I'm reading by this author. I started reading his books last October. I read The Career of Rougon. Like, I don't really remember what's the name in English. I'm gonna put the picture on the screen, but I really, really enjoyed it. And then this book was on sale and I picked it up, and it has 2 books in that series. Book 11, The Belly of Paris, and book 12, The Joy of Life. And The Belly of Paris I read in January and absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite books of this year, and for about a month now I've been wanting to read The Joy of Life, but I was traveling and I was filming the previous episode of Read It or Ditch It and didn't really have time, and I wasn't actually sure that I'm gonna read this book during this series. I wanted to take my time with it because it's a slow book and I read very slowly in Russian. It is my mother tongue, but for some reason I read much faster in Latvian or English, maybe because I studied in Latvian school and didn't really read Russian books growing up, and so the Russian alphabet is not so, like, it is familiar to me. I know the Russian alphabet, but it is a bit harder for me to read it because I'm not used to it so much. Why I like it's beyond me why I love Emile Zola so much, because I usually love books that are very fast paced and not so much character driven, but Emile Zola's books are exactly about characters and family dynamics and the beautiful writing style, and not so much about the fast paced plot. But I am actually 70 pages in and I'm absolutely loving this book. I would love to finish this book this weekend, but I don't really know if I can do that. A lot of pages don't even have dialogue, so there would be just like pages of text with almost no dialogue, and so you would just read descriptions, and yeah, it takes time, but I'm really, really enjoying it. So this book is about Pauline, who was a character in The Belly of Paris. So her parents owned the meat store where she was born there and she lived there up until she was 10 years old. And when her parents died, her uncle Chanteau takes her in and is now raising her. And the Chanteau couple actually have their own son. He is 9 years older than Pauline. When they meet, Pauline is 10 years old and he is 19 years old, and they spend a summer together and they become really good friends. And then Lazarus has to go to Paris to study. He really wants to study music, but over the summer Pauline and his mom talk him into studying medicine, and his mom doesn't really want him to study medicine, but she really wants him to become a wealthy man and to bring good word and good wealth to their family. And he goes to study medicine, but soon he leaves it and he decides to open his own business. And I'm not gonna spoil anything, but they start using Pauline in their own for their own benefit. And Pauline is this very nice girl, and obviously she's not without a flaw. And Emile Zola shows all of the flaws of the family and of each character, and the family dynamics are really cool. And but like overall, Pauline is this very clean girl, very like naive girl, and they're using her for their benefit. And I'm not far into it, as I said, I'm 70 pages in, but I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, I would let you know when I'm around like middle point of the book. So yeah. Okay, so I'm almost 200 pages in to Joy of Life by Emile Zola, and I'm really enjoying it, and I have a lot to say. I will also include some spoilers. So I'm really enjoying how Emile Zola is describing characters. He is building very realistic characters, and not all of them are very likable. For example, our main character, Pauline, she is very generous and caring and loving, and she never says no, and she always sits with her who was he? Ill uncle. He has a chronic illness and she always spends time with him, and she never says no when her aunt wants to use her inheritance money, and she is just this very generous and kind and loving person, but obviously she also has flaws. She is very jealous, and we see a few jealousy scenes when Lazar's a friend's daughter, Louise, comes to live with them for the summer and they meet for the first time. Pauline really doesn't like her and she's very jealous because she likes Lazar and she's very good friends with Lazar, and eventually Louise and Pauline become friends, but the beginning was like a bit ugly. But over the time, Pauline and Lazar decide that it's good for them to get married, and Pauline falls in love with Lazar, and as well, like she gives him money for his business ideas, and it doesn't work out obviously, and she loses the money. And then we also have Madame Chanteau, who is Pauline's aunt, and she is very unlikable character. And here's where I need to talk spoilers, and I just really need to talk it out because I'm so frustrated. So if you're planning to read this book, skip this part because it's going to include spoilers. If you're not planning to read this book, or if you have read this book, feel free to continue watching. But as I said, if you are planning to read this book, feel free to skip. So basically, Madame Chanteau is very nice to Pauline, and she asks Pauline to, well, she doesn't really ask her, but she talks Pauline into giving Lazar money for his one of his business ideas, and then it doesn't work out, and she kind of talks Pauline into giving money for his second business idea, and eventually that doesn't work out either. But I literally just read the scene where everything falls apart, but eventually Madame Chantal starts blaming Pauline in all of their problems, in her uncle's illness, and in them getting, like, being broke, and all of the problems, although Pauline has never said no when Madame Chantal wanted to use Pauline's inheritance money, and she basically starts hating Pauline, and so Pauline and Lazar, they get engaged, but their marriage is postponed a few years, and due to Pauline's age, because it's they have 9-year age gap between them, and so the wedding gets postponed a bit. And while it's postponed, that Madame Chanteau starts hating Pauline, and she is telling everyone, oh, Pauline is not good enough to be my daughter-in-law, she is not good enough to become my only son's wife, and yada yada yada. And then there is this girl, Louise, who comes to live in their house in summers, and Madame Chanteau starts talking to Louise about, oh yeah, Lazar is such a good man, you will be such a great wife to him, and yada yada yada. And then one day Pauline finds out that Lazar is cheating on her, and she literally just bursts into his room, and he is kissing Louise, and she tells Louise to immediately leave her house, and like she says, either you leave or I leave. And honestly, I don't understand how she hasn't left up until this point, because they are just literally using her and blaming her. And so her heart is broken, and she just, like, she can't marry Lazar anymore. But the weirdest part is that at this point, he's around 30 years old, and he doesn't even come to explain or apologize. He is just this, I don't even know the word in English, but he is just this childish person who doesn't even has his own backbone, and he doesn't even try to apologize for what he did. So yeah, that is just so the only sane character at this point is Veronica, who really hated Pauline at the beginning, but now she has fallen in love with her, and she is the character that actually cares for Pauline now. But Lazar is this just, like, weird person. So it just like really frustrates me that he doesn't even come to apologize and explain, and then more things happen, but I'm not gonna spoil anymore. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading this book. I hope to finish it in the next couple days. I have exactly 137 pages to go, so hopefully I can finish it in the next couple days. I've been reading it a bit faster. I've gotten used to the writing style, and my pace has been a bit faster. So yeah, hopefully I will finish it soon and let you know how I feel, but so far I'm really, really loving it. Hello you guys, so it is time to give you an update on The Joy of Life by Emile Zola. So I just finished it yesterday. I was planning to finish it on Tuesday, but ended up finishing up on Thursday, but it's okay. I really, really love this book. I gave it 4 stars. I feel like it was a decent 4-star for me. It wasn't my favorite out of 3 Zola books that I've read. My favorite was The Belly of Paris, but this was so good. This has the second place. So this is one of the books in the Gone Makar series, and I am planning to continue on with the series. You don't have to read them in order. I'm not reading them in order. You can, and actually there is order that the books were written, and then there is order that the author himself suggests, the reading order that the author himself suggests, and I'm not following either of them. I'm just like randomly reading books that I can get my hands on, and thankfully I have 4 more books by Emile Zola on the way. I ordered a book in this like classics series that has 3 of the novels, and then 2 or 3 of the novels, and then one other book that is not part of the series. I'm like excited to read books by Emile Zola that are not part of the Gone Makar series, but this was so good. And to be honest, the title, The Joy of Life, is highly ironic because there is nothing joyous about this book. It is filled with sorrow and pain and tragedy and heartbreaks, and our main character Pauline, from the day she arrives to Shinto House, she has been giving herself to other people. She has given her inheritance money to them. She has cared for them. She has given them her time, and she has nothing left, but she is this caring and loving girl. And I love how, I mean, it is not a light book to read. It is not fluffy. It is not filled with like happily ever after. It is not filled with hope in humanity and like good life and stuff, but it is realistic. It is highly realistic, and Emile Zola is showing us the rotten personalities, rotten souls of people that don't care about others, and literally the only good and caring and loving person in all of this was Pauline. And if you have not read The Joy of Life, I highly recommend. And if you've never read or heard about Emile Zola in this TikTok book age, then definitely check him out. And I think he's my favorite classics author as of now, so highly recommend. And this book is very heavy, but it is staying on my shelves, and I cannot wait to read his other books. Hopefully it doesn't take me other like 9 or 10 months to pick his next book, but yeah, 4 out of 5 stars and another book of my TBR. Hi guys, so it's time to choose my next read, and I was planning to read Dune by Carrie Corp, but then I got a message from the bookstore that my order is ready and I can pick up my books, and one of those books was If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. So this was on my fall TBR and I was planning to read it as ebook, but I haven't found it anywhere, and actually since getting Libby. It is available there as audiobook, but then I would have to wait several months and that probably be like winter or spring already. And then I saw this book on my local bookstore's website and decided to get it. And I'm actually already 65 pages in. I've barely been reading, but I'm flying through this book because it consists of a lot of dialogue. So it's mostly just dialogue instead of like a lot of descriptions, which is exactly what I need after Zola's book. That was incredible, but it was so heavy with descriptions and not so many dialogues. So the story begins when our main character is Michelle's mom passes, and basically she had a bed and breakfast, and she thought that her youngest daughter Sarah is going to take over, but Sarah is still at art school and she still has a semester of college, and instead of Sarah, Michelle decides to take over until Sarah finishes her school, and she moves to this really small town. It is called, what is it called? Copper Run in Vermont, and there's this next door neighbor who is a single dad, and he has two daughters. One is 6 years old, and her name is Brittany, and one is a teenager called Emily. And this book is just so freaking cute. Michelle has talked to Cliff, the single dad, once, but it was just like so cute. And they had dinner the day that Michelle arrived at Copper Run, and they invited her for dinner, and it was just so wholesome. I'm freaking loving this book already, and I love Brittany. Brittany is just like so adorable, and she loves Michelle's dog Rocket. And if you know me, you know I love kids, so having kids in books is just like, oh, it just warms my heart. And yeah, it's been raining all day, so I made myself coffee, and I'm gonna just sit under my blankets and drink coffee and read this book, and just I want to try to read as much as I possibly can. This book is chunkier than I expected. It's almost 500 pages, but still, I'm running through it, so hopefully I can finish it in the next couple days. I'm not going to be able to read tomorrow, or at least not as much as I wanted to, but yeah, so today is the day that I'm planning to read as much as I can, and so yeah, I will update you when I'm halfway done.
One eternity later.
Okay, hi. So it's been almost a month since I finished If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia, and I freaking love this book. The reason why I didn't update you is because I was sick, and so I've actually been feeling well for about a week now, but I haven't updated you. I always just, yeah, I have no excuses. No excuses, guys. But I love this book. I loved every single character in this book. Obviously, not all of them were like perfect, but they were very likable and very realistic, and I loved the romance. I loved how slow burn it was, but at the same time, they got to be really great friends at the beginning and like very fast, and they clicked, and it was just so good. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, and it's one of my favorite books of the whole year. So yeah, it was just like so good. It took me quite a bit of time to get through it, although it was very fast paced at the beginning. I just really didn't have time to read this book, and yeah, it slowed down toward the end, and it took me about 2-ish weeks. I'm like, honestly, yeah, no excuses. I'm ashamed, but this book was absolutely incredible. I loved how they didn't have that many spicy scenes. I don't love spicy scenes, and I don't love books where every second chapter, every second page is a spicy scene. But this was very realistic, very good, very awesome, and I absolutely loved it. So now, if you're still here, thank you so much. I love you guys, but let's do a recap. So we started this episode on 167 books, and since then I've gotten quite a lot of books, but I managed to read. Okay, let me take these books. I managed to read 3 incredible books in this episode, and I didn't DNF a single one. So we started very strong with Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Then we read an incredible classic, The Joy of Life by Emile Zola, that I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and we finished with a contemporary, not contemporary, is it historical fiction if this was happening in 1997? Like 28 years ago, is it historical fiction already? But anyway, let's say a literary fiction romance that got 5 stars. So yeah, we started this episode on 167 books, and now I'm at 166 books. However, I don't understand how I'm still 1 book down, because during the filming of this episode in this month-ish, I've gotten about 20 new books. Well, maybe not 20, maybe like 16 or something. But yeah, how I'm still down, I don't know. No, actually, I know. So I also filmed. What is English today? I cannot. I haven't filmed for so long that I cannot speak anymore. So I wanted to do a Goodreads cleanout and include it in this episode, and I actually filmed it. And when I started editing this video, I realized that maybe I accidentally didn't save the screen recording or something, because I cannot find it anywhere. And so, yeah, I just have to delete that scene where I talked about the books, but I didn't actually have anything to show you because the screen recording I did not have the screen recording. So I got my Goodreads TBR down to 150 something, and then since getting all of those new books, I added them to my Goodreads TBR. I actually think that I haven't added every single one of them. I will have to go through my TBR card at the end of the year and add every single one that's in there. And yeah, so we are now at 166 books, 1 book down, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have read any of these books, or you are planning to read any of these books, leave a comment. Leave a comment regardless. How did you like this episode? If you're still here, thank you so much again. I love you guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Bye!